Hi everybody, it's Julianne Jones with some A's to your Q's on the video Q&A that we do on the Facebook page every single Monday. So I have several questions today, and I'm going to start with one from Anne-Marie Roush, and she says she's looking for a way to organize her existing and new team members, staying in contact, follow-up, etc. So Anne-Marie, great question. It's not one that I can give you a definite here's how you do it answer to. Your follow-up system is really personal, and it's based on what works best for you. So what I do recommend is that you make sure that you have a systematic way to catalog and keep in touch with all, not only your team members, but also your customers, and follow up with people who are interested in your opportunity, that type of thing. So whether you're doing an Excel spreadsheet, or you're creating contacts in Outlook, or another computer program, whether you're writing them all down on index cards and keeping them filed away in a box, you just need to make sure that the system that you're using, number one, works for you, and number two, you're consistently keeping up with and checking all the time. So there's not really a here's how you do it answer, but I would just say that you should do a little bit of research and figure out what works best for you. And I do have a program called Get Organized and Take Back Your Life. Actually, today we're in the final day of a launch I'm doing on that. I will post a link underneath this video if you'd like to go watch the free webinar that I did. And I do talk a little bit about follow-up and your follow-up system on that webinar as well. Thanks for your question. Next question is from Melissa Gregson Weber. I'm finding a hard balance of encouragement with my team members and feeling like I'm trying to be a boss or not enough support. I'm either trying to be a boss or I'm not enough support. So that's a really typical issue, especially with direct sales, because really you're dealing with entrepreneurs, people who own their own businesses, and so they're not really employees. They don't really work for you, and yet they still look to you for support and encouragement and education and all that. So my first rule of thumb when it comes to working with your team is to make sure that you're working with the willing. So depending on the size of your team, there are some people who are going to get your one-on-one time and some people who are not. And that's really based on those that are really working their businesses and kind of earning your time, is how I like to say it. So it's really important that you sort out who you're working with, and that the people that are getting your time are really earning it and are showing up for themselves and taking action based on what you're sharing. Now, that being said, there are a lot of different ways that you can mentor your team. You can have a private Facebook group where you're sharing inspiration and education and supporting them. You can do an email every week or so. You can do webinars or teleseminars where they can come on and ask you questions and get your feedback and support. My big rule of thumb is you want to train in groups and then mentor one-on-one. So to offer lots of group training through one of those avenues is great. And then mentoring people, those people who are willing, the work with the willing piece of it, who are really, earning your time. And that, how many people you mentor one-on-one depends on how much time you have. So I think leaders tend to beat themselves up a little bit around their team management and how they're working with their team, and they always feel like they're never doing enough. I know the clients I coach, that's sort of an issue that they have. And so I would say, number one, give yourself a break. And if you're worried about it, it probably means you're doing a lot. And secondly, if you're not sure, ask your team. What would you like more of? What can I do more to support you? Okay, hope that helps. Question number 3 from Elise Sauber. What is the best way to get more bookings from virtual parties? Well, I'm going to tell you that my definition of a virtual party is an actual event where you get online with a bunch of other people. You either webcast yourself, or you're able to communicate with them verbally. It's like when I do a webinar and I have other people on the phone and we can all hear each other. I really believe that a virtual party should be just that, a live event where you're on live with other people and you're all interacting together. Because if you do that, you're going to have more results in all areas, and bookings are included in that. So if you're going through your presentation and they're all there and you're sharing your screen and you're showing them, your website or whatever, it's easy to say, I'd love to have you host a virtual party for me as well, so that I can spoil you and your friends and we can all come together virtually and do this. So you can kind of do a booking commercial as a part of that. If you're looking at a virtual party as basically a glorified catalog party where you do a Facebook event and you invite people to place orders, that's not really what I call a virtual party. It's more of a catalog party or an online, opportunity for them to order. If you really want to get bookings, I think a virtual party is what you need to be doing. A live event where everybody comes together at the same time in the same place to experience your products and you. So that's my best advice for that. So Tina Thorpe asks, can you give us a few of your best organizing tips to handle follow-up? And that's sort of a piggybacks on Anne-Marie's question. And so a couple of just quick tips to follow up on that. And also Lynn Wright said, I second Tina's question. So she had sort of the same question. Make sure that you find a system that works for you that you will maintain. Make sure that you are checking that system on a daily basis and that you're keeping up with it so that you're keeping the information updated in that system no matter what it looks like. And I think it's a discipline thing. You have to be disciplined to say, follow up is a huge part of my business, so I'm going to make sure that whatever system I choose is going to work and keep me accountable to always follow up. You know, if you tell someone you're going to call them next Tuesday, you need to call them next Tuesday. So what do you need to do to make sure that happens? Is it a reminder in Outlook or on your iPhone in your calendar there that'll pop up and remind you? Is it, like I said, an index card that you actually pull out and check every weekday? It just depends on how you work. Is it a note in your physical planner calendar like I have here, my planner? You know, do I have a note that says call so-and-so? Whatever it looks like, it has to be something that speaks to you, that you're going to maintain and that you're going to always be accessing to make sure that it's reminding you every single time to make that follow-up call. And like I said, there is a link at the bottom of this video to the Get Organized and Take Back Your Life program and the free webinar that I did for that, which runs through tonight at midnight. So hopefully you'll have a chance to access that. One last question from Adele Banks. What are the best ways you found to motivate your team? Now, I get that question almost at least a couple times a month on the Q&A Monday. It's a big issue, and I'm a big believer that you can't motivate anybody except yourself. You can inspire people and you can support them in finding a reason to take action. But for me to try to motivate someone, I mean, I've learned having teenagers, it's almost impossible. It's just really challenging to motivate anybody. So I would recommend changing your mindset and thinking in terms of how can I inspire my team? You can inspire them by sharing your own success and what's working for you. You can inspire them by asking them questions about what they want so that they can discover what's in it for them. You know, what really is their why? What's really going to inspire them to take action? And asking questions and coaching them is the best way to do that. You can inspire them by offering incentives. Your direct sales company does that very well, and because they know it works. So you can always, as a leader, incentivize your team. You know, so if you get at least 4 bookings in February or in March, you're going to be entered into a drawing for this. There are a lot of different ways to incentivize your team using rewards and that kind of thing. And I just think if you shift your focus from motivating to inspiring, it's going to give you a whole different mindset around working with your team. So there you go. That's it's so much easier doing these videos than typing my answers. I'm really glad I thought of this for this year, and we're getting some great feedback on the videos. So next Monday, please check back. Q&A Monday happens pretty much all day. You can post your questions, and then sometime after about 4 or 5 Pacific time, I go on and record an answer and then upload that video. So thanks again for joining me today, and hopefully I'll see you next week on Q&A Monday. Have a great day.